Jai Guru Hanuman. The Sanskrit is a language that we all say it is Deva Bhasha. It is not written by any one individual. The sounds that came from the existence of earth are the sounds of the Sanskrit. So nobody has sat and written any of those things. If you look at any other language, it is very difficult to actually even compare any other language with Sanskrit. This is a testimony to these great rishis that have developed this language. And I will mention few things. One, I think I want to just give you a couple of quotations as to what the other peoples have done about. I have 100 of them, but I'll just give you about one or two. This is Jean Lee Mee, born in France, 1931. Sanskrit is the artificial language par excellence, patiently refined sound by sound, embracing all the levels of being, physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. It is ideally suited to describe and govern the nature of the phenomena from the spiritual to the physical. And Alain Daniel, who spent nearly 30 years in India. He was also a student at Benares University. He taught in the Benares University, and probably he has written at least about 20-30 books on Hinduism. So he was more of a Hindu than most of the people at that time. He did not even think Rabindranath Tagore or even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a true Hindu. So that is the kind of lifestyles that he led in India. He was more of a sannyasi than anybody that we can think of. When you read his biography, when you read all the books, I mean, it will just, your skin will really bounce up, and then you will see a lot of tears and all that when he is talking about the greatness of Hinduism. He says Sanskrit constructed like geography and follows a rigorous logic. It is theoretically possible to explain the meaning of the words according to the combined sense of relative letters, symbols, and cause, so on and so on. So the point is, I think Sanskrit is probably one of the best languages that we can find in the universe. I wish at the time of independence, our forefathers had the wisdom and the courage to have introduced and accepted Sanskrit as a national language rather than going to the pressures, all the political influences that they have mustered. So almost 6-7 generations of people have lost the glory of the Sanskrit language. So I'm so glad our Bharati Samskriti is trying to revive it here, because something that we do in this country, it will impact more in India than anybody does back in India. Independence, same thing happened. It is only outside world that has influenced the Indian politics. Many Europeans joined the independence movement. That is how we got the independence. So now I think Samskritis and Sanskrit, we should definitely make sure that we will try to promote it and implement it. So just any 2-letter combination will be considered as mantra, and Om is one of those. In 1930, Henry Jenn, one of the scientists, tried to experiment or study whether this Om sound would really have any influence. We keep saying, well, all these mantras have so many vibrations, so much energy, so much power, everything else. So he done the experiment. Of course, since that time, So many other studies have been, they are called, you can go to Google, cymatics. The study of cymatics, C-Y-M-A-T-I-S. So he put an iron plate on top of it, so he put the fine sand, finest sand that you can put. And then he started playing some sounds. So finally he came to the Om sound that he played actually in the pyramids. So once he started playing this Om sound, then you can see so many crystal formations, and he even observed something very similar to Sri Yantra also. So that is the greatness and the vibrations that our language produces. Just 2 letters. Just imagine all the chanting that is going on in the temple, all the mantras that they are chanting, how much impact and how many vibrations probably it should be generating. So that is one of the reasons I think we need to come to the temple as often as possible. Just to give you a couple of examples, mantras, if you look at it, it will affect our pineal gland. Pineal gland. So according to the research, all our rishis had the pineal gland the size of lemon, whereas we have the size of only raisin. So that's the reason they were able to foresee anything and everything. They will be able to dissect the whole universe. Tell me one subject that has not been addressed by our rishis. Any topic. You will never find any topic that has not been addressed by our rishis. Mark Twain, when he went to India, he said, there is not a single thing under the sun that has not been addressed by our rishis. He was there for 6 months. Now, if you look at the breadth of the cosmos, everything has breathing. If you look at the earth formation and the breathing of the earth, it breathes at 7.3 hertz. If you chant Om, it also breathes at 7.3 hertz. In the United States and all the Russian Sputniks and all that, so the generators that they have in that, so they always make sure that they will be at the 7.3 hertz. So that is the power of our language. We have to make sure that we try to teach our children. We also learn. I'm too old to learn at this age, but I'm sure all of you, so you can still grasp what they are talking about. So please learn and try to teach all the children. Not only that one, I think once you start learning the temple Sanskrit, you will also improve your memory and your brain, intelligence. A lot of studies have done. It's not just we are talking about it and saying something because, we are so proud of our language. And everything is scientific. That's the reason Hinduism is the only one that doesn't fear of conducting research and trying to see if something is proven or not. Everything that our rishis have, written in any topic, everything is scientific. They are actually moving laboratories. So they used to go in the forest from one place to one place. It doesn't matter. They just sit, meditate, then it's done. So once they focus on any given topic, they will dissect it. They know exactly what goes on. In Bhagavad Purana, there is one sloka where it says, the earth existed for the last 8.42 billion years. Well, how do you know? I could have said any number of years. Carl Sagan, who was at Syracuse University, who was a geologist, so he went to India so many times, and then he said, according to the modern science, all the scientific investigation, not even a single year difference they will find between what the modern science is talking about and what the Bhagavad Purana says about the existence of earth. Look at the billion years, not even 1 year. Can you imagine that kind of imagination that anybody can think of? That is the greatness of our rishis. because of the meditation, because of the concentration, because they are able to see the whole universe and the future. So let us keep up. And I want to thank one more time Sri Chakravarti, Sri Sridhar, and all of you parents, bringing the children, teaching them, having the patience. It will pay off. Your children will be the most brilliant people because they are going to, they have learned the Sanskrit. You don't have to say one word. If anybody who is a Sanskrit scholar tell me what he cannot understand, he can easily grasp. So rest of us takes time, but for them they don't need much time to grasp what I say. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all the program that you both have, all of you have conducted and organized it. I appreciate. And one more time, I thank you all to make sure that you all revive the culture and our language. Jai Guru Hanuman, Jai Gurudev.